So today we are going to discuss about contract posting, which is an important method of posting. So we all know about job posting, uniqueness of job posting. Uh, as we know, job posting, each job will be unique, unlike batch in which homogeneous products are produced in bulk as a batch. In job posting, we produce each product which will be unique in its nature and character. So basically, contract posting is an extended version of job posting in which each product or output will be different. So in a case, it may be a construction of a house. In other case, it may be a construction of a road. In other case, it may be construction of bridge. So in that case, the output of a contract varies according to the needs and wants of the client. So basically, contract costing is a methodology under which we are preparing the books of a contractor in such a way to evaluate the performance of each contract and to estimate what the output will be in contract for the next year. We all know contract will be extending for a long period. The most important difference between a job posting and a contract posting is basically its time. In job posting, a job may be completed within 2 months or maybe in a week, in a day, depending upon the work. Basically, contract will be extending for a large time, at least for a year or maybe for 10 years. It depends upon the nature of the work that the contractor is doing. So basically, we are evaluating the performance, and also in contract costing, we are trying to forecast how the contract will be faring in the future time or when it will be nearing its completion. So basically, in contract costing, we are preparing records separately for each contract. As we told earlier, in contract, each unique work will be large in size. So we are maintaining separate record for separate contracts. So we know there are two persons in a contract. They are the contractor who undertakes the work, and second one is the contractee for whom the contract is doing work. So these are the basic two terminology that we have to understand. So coming to the features of contract posting, following are the important features. As I told earlier, the contracts are generally large in size, and therefore a contractor usually carries out a small number of contracts in course of 1 year. The the contract generally takes more than 1 year to complete. The work on contract is carried out at the site of the contracts and not in the factory premises. Each contract is treated as a cost unit, and therefore separate accounts and records are maintained for these contracts. And most of the materials are specifically purchased for each contract. This will therefore be charged directly from the supplier, and all the labor cost will be treated as direct cost, and most expenses will be directly in nature. The plant equipment may be purchased for the contract or it can be either hired. The payment will be made by the contractee to the contractor in various stages of the completion. And when the contractee's engineer comes to the worksite and he evaluates the work done by contractor, and if it is found that the work is up to the standard specified, the engineer will issue a certificate, and the work for which a certificate is issued is called as work certified, and the work which is pending to receive certificate is called as work uncertified. And the contractee has to pay the amount that is equivalent to the work that is certified. But usually he will not pay the full amount. He will retain a portion of the amount equivalent to the work certified as retention money, so as he can ensure the future performance of the contract will be up to the mark. And it is to be considered, it is to be known that the penalties will be incurred for a contract if he is failing to complete the work in specified period. And when looking at the contract costing, it is much similar in terms of maintaining of records when compared to the cost accounting. And as I told, the work will be unique. Each work will have its own nature and characteristics, so the contracts will be dissimilar and different in nature. It can be construction, it can be repair or anything. Usually in contract is promised most of the items of the cost chargeable to the contract will be direct, and only very few indirect costs will be incurred. So the problem of cost control is very crucial as the work is done in a far away area, not in the premises of the contractor. Hence, he has to ensure a proper control. Otherwise, loss of material damage, wastage of labor, theft, pilferage, etc. may occur. And in case of contract costing, the work commences on the receipts of order from the customer. In the case of complete contract, there is a problem of determination of the amount of profit to be carried to the current year's profit and loss account, the amount of profit to be carried forward. And there is no heavy investment on assets initially in case of contract costing. So these are some of the features, and we are now coming towards the contract costing procedures. The basic procedure for contract costing is the following. First one, the contract account. We have to prepare a contract account separately for each contract. And there will be direct cost incurred. That cost will be usually labor. It may be material, it may be direct expenses, depreciation, and costs related with subcontracts. And there will be also indirect cost, which is to be properly absorbed, and there will be transfer of materials or plant from one contract site to other contract site. And the other factor is the contract price. It is the price that is agreed between the contractor and contractee. And the important factor is that the contract price will be settled only at the end of the contract, but periodic payment will be made by the contractor, and that is usually shown in the credit side of contract account as work in progress. And the profit and loss account. Every time the balance in the contract account is to be transferred to the profit and loss account. And while computing the profit or loss of a contract, we should know that there are mainly three types of contract. First one is the completed contract. Second one, the profit and its treatment in case of uncompleted contract. And profit that is to be derived from a contract that is likely to be completed. So when the contract has begun and when it is completed in the same financial year, then the entire profit or loss made that should be transferred to the P&L account. If it is the profit, it will be credited to the P&L account, and if it is loss, it will be debited to the P&L account. And in case of incompleted contract, there we have some factors that is to be considered. It is, in this case, the profit is transferred to P&L account subject to certain rules and norms. So it is basically a contract which has started in a particular year and that is not yet completed. Only a portion of the work has been completed during that particular year. So there are two aspects for a profit computation. First one is the computation of notional profit or estimated profit. Second one, computation of amount of portion of such profit to be transferred to the P&L account. As I told earlier, when a contract is not completed, The profit earned during a particular year will not be fully transferred. Only a portion will be transferred to the annual account, and the other will be retained as work in progress reserve by the contractor for meeting any contingency that is to be met in future. So basically, when the contract is an incomplete contract, during the end of a financial year, the output, the result of that contract will be computed, and it can be computed through a contract account in which all the expenses relating to contract will be debited while the amount received from the contractee, that is the work certified, work uncertified, basically work in progress. This comes under the head work in progress, and other incomes deriving will be shown in the credit side. And when account is balanced, we will be arriving at the net result during that particular year, and that will be considered as notional profit. And as I told earlier, this notional profit cannot be entirely transferred to P&L because work is not yet completed. It has miles to go again. So therefore, only a portion is transferred to P&L and the balance is transferred to work in progress reserve. So how we will divide this notional profit between the amount to be moved out to P&L account and the amount that is to be kept as provision? That is the second question. So there is some general rule that is to be followed. Let's look into that rules. The first rule is that when work certified is less than 1 by 4th of the contract price, then no profit is transferred to the P&L account. Then their amount will be transferred to work in progress reserve. And the second case is that when work certified is 1 by 4th or more but less than 1 by 2, half of the contract, then 1 by 3rd of the profit will be transferred to P&L and balance will be transferred to work in progress reserve. So the following formula is utilized to find out the amount that is to be transferred to P&L account. So you can see that formula: profit and loss account is equal to notional profit into 1 by 3rd into cash received by work certified. And the third rule is that when the work certified is 1 by 2, that is 50% of the contract price, but it is less than 1 by 10, so that is 90%, then the profit to be transferred to P&L account will be profit and loss account amount to be credited is equal to notional profit into 2 by 3rd into cash received divided by work certified. And the balance amount will be transferred to work in progress reserve. And in the fourth rule, we have the situation when contract is nearing its completion. That is, it is about the work has been completed above 90% of the contract price, but it has not yet been completed. So under this situation, we can use any of the following equations. So the amount of profit will be estimated profit into work certified divided by contract price, or estimated profit into work certified divided by contract price into cash received divided by work certified, or estimated profit into cost of work to be paid divided by estimated total cost to the work, or estimated profit into cost of work to date divided by estimated total cost of the work into cash received divided by work certified. Can use any of the following equation. Basically, we will be using either the first or second equation for evaluating the estimated profit when the contract is nearing its completion. And the fifth rule is basically in the event of a loss on uncompleted contract, it should be transferred in full to the P&L account, whatever the stage of completion of the contract. As we know, when there is a loss, there is nothing we can move to reserve. So basically, we will be transferring all of the amount to the P&L account. The loss will be entirely transferred. So this is the specimen of an incomplete contract. As you can see in debit side, we have this opening work in progress and all the expenses that has been incurred with the contract. And in the credit side, we have the work in progress and losses that may have incurred, and the income that may have been raised either in the form of subcontracts or maybe other losses like planned material stolen, material lost, etc. will be also shown. And this is the pro forma of estimated contract account. Uh, and you can see the specimen of completed contract account. So basically it will be same. Only difference is that we will be closing this account to the contract this account with the contract price when it is completed. So next one is the work in progress account. As I told, the work in progress usually have two items in it, that is the work certified and the work uncertified. And when coming to the balance sheet, usually we will be preparing an abstract of the balance sheet if we are not provided with a trial balance, and in cases when trial balance are provided, then the detail will be shown. So these are the basic information regarding contract posting. Hope it was useful to you. Thank you.